Hi, I'm Brian Goulet of the Goulet Pen Company and Ink Nouveau, and if you bought a Pilot Con-50 converter anytime in the last couple of years, you notice it comes with this little metal agitator inside there, also known as a doohickey, as I've referred to it in my previous videos. And it serves a purpose. Basically, the whole idea behind it is that ink tends to hang up in the back of this converter, especially if you're using a vanishing point, which is a pen that you're flipping every which way. And ink can kind of hang up there, and this agitator is meant to keep the ink from hanging and keep it flowing down and working properly in your pen. But some people don't like it. Either makes a rattling sound, or maybe it takes up a little bit of the ink capacity that you don't want to sacrifice in this converter. And then you think, okay, how do I get this thing out of there? Well, it's not going to come out of the open end. You got to get it out of the other end. So I'm going to show you in detail today how to get that thing out of there. This is the Pilot Con-50 converter. It's a twist piston converter, and it's got this little metal agitator in there if you bought it any time after around, I don't know, mid-2011 or so. It's got a purpose. You know, it's made to keep ink from hanging up in the back of this converter, to keep it flowing down smoothly. That's why it's there. But it's got a couple of drawbacks. It kind of rattles a little bit in your pen, especially if you're getting empty. And it can also take away a little bit of your ink capacity. So I can understand where you might want to take it off. Now, other converters that I've done videos on, like the Platinum one or the Standard International, they have it where you can just take and grab this metal piece and untwist it, and it unscrews just like a bottle cap would. But this one is a little bit tougher. It still is threaded in here and will unscrew just like the other ones, except it's glued in place. So what you need to do is you need to grab something like a rubber gasket or a piece of garden hose or maybe rubber glove or something like that. And you got to get a really good grip on it, and you got to twist with a lot of intention, and you may kind of hear a little cracking or something like that. Could be your knuckles cracking because you're having to squeeze it so hard, or it's usually the glue breaking. But once you do that, once you break that glue, you just kind of clean it off a little bit with your fingers, and then you'll be able to thread that piece back on there very easily and be able to remove it easily from then on out. But the way this thing works is it's in several pieces. So you've got the metal shroud here, which is what actually holds everything together. You've got this piece, which is your knob, and that's threaded, that fits onto the threaded rod. You've got this little piece, which is kind of important, and I'll explain that one in a second. Then you've got your threaded rod and your agitator. So if you want to remove the agitator, you just take that and set it aside. Don't lose it in case you ever want to put it back. And this would also be a great opportunity when you're reassembling this thing to grab some silicone grease. Just go ahead, just dab a tiny bit on your finger. You really don't need much. And go ahead and throw some on the end of this rubber seal, around the sides of the rubber seal. That silicone grease will keep your piston operating really smoothly inside the barrel of the converter. Then you got this little piece. This piece, I don't know what it's called, but it's got this kind of rectangular cut in here, and it kind of matches up to the cut of that rod. So you want to put that around the rod and get it in place. Now there's all these notches kind of cut onto the edge of the converter, and this has notches cut into it, this little black piece. So what you want to do is you want to spin the piece until it locks into place and fits kind of flush with the top. And then you want to thread this knob onto the back, take the metal shroud, put that over everything, thread that back in place, and if you've assembled it correctly, it should smoothly operate in there, and now you have no metal agitator in there. If you reassemble it and it's really, really tough to move, I can pretty much tell you what you did, and that is that this little black piece here is not set properly, and I'll show you how that works right now. I'm going to set it in the wrong position intentionally. I'm just going to try to really not get it in there well, if I even can. And I'm going to thread this thing back together. What's going to happen is it's going to be cockeyed to the side a little bit, and it's going to be really tough to move it. So what you want to do is you just want to unscrew it, take it, just kind of move it in a different position. If you just kind of spin this little piece around, it'll feel right once you kind of get it into place. But just give it a couple of shots. You're not going to hurt anything too bad just by moving it around. Thread it back on, and then that feels much better. If you have any questions about the Pilot Con-50 or any other fountain pen related stuff, you can always leave a comment on this video on Ink Nouveau, my blog, or on the YouTube video, or you can always contact me on Facebook or Twitter. Thanks so much for watching today, and right on.